Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Queerness Diaries. So I'm joined today by one of my friends that I've known for how many years has it been now, Pat?
I think it's 3.
Yeah. So we met originally at Colegio Belmont, which was an experience for both of us, but we just clicked, didn't we, off the bat?
Yeah. At the moment you met, and I was like, yes, this is my type of person.
Yeah, it's been like, I can't believe it's been that long, and I've not seen you since I left Madrid.
Yeah.
It's been
Also, I remember when I met you, I thought, oh, you remind me so much of myself at your age. Because I mean, that's important to say. There's an age difference, but it doesn't matter. I see myself in you a lot.
Yeah, it's like every time we talk, we always have our conversations.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, it's like we always know we've either done it before or we never judge each other. And
that's it. I think that's the basis of that we don't judge each other, and our mistakes and the way we are just like so in sync. Like we have things in common.
Yeah, it's so true. And so for everyone to know, so today we're talking all things ADHD. So nothing's off limits, including if we go off topic, which we often do in our conversations. And so, Pat, first, I'm going to get you to kind of talk about your journey with ADHD. So, talk me through.
I'm late diagnosed. I'm the type of adult who was diagnosed completely randomly at the age of 46 because I decided to study. First of all, I haven't been able to finish any course in my life. So at one point when I was 44, I decided to finish my studies. And one of the subjects was learning difficulties. So I started studying ADHD. It's being a classroom teacher, right? And dyslexia, autism. So it was one of my favorite subjects. In fact, every tick box for ADHD, that was like, this rings a bell. This was me when I was a kid. So I decided to get tested in a place, and it turned out that I had it. So from there on, it was a bit like a relief and at the same time a curse. So then a year after I met you. So it was amazing because I confessed I had ADHD, but it's so new for me. And you were already like, you gave me you still do give me so much advice that I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think, and when we met, it was like, because at the time, as we know with ADHD, working situations, we're very sensitive to the people around us, and we just instantly clicked. And I can't even remember when I
remember, for example, you and me would be like, okay, we have to plan something, and last minute we would you would have something done in 10 minutes, because I think that's what happens with ADHDers, that we leave everything for last minute. So we're really good at improvising.
Yeah.
So we improvised everything, and but classes turned out really well. So you are super proactive, but like me, last minute.
We hyper focus, but we do like so much at the very last second. It's always the way.
Exactly.
And I think for me, I always knew I think, like I told you before, when I was a kid, I always knew something was off, but my parents always thought it was autism. And so it was the things, like with the hypnotist and being taken to therapy out of school. And people obviously would know, because if you disappear from school for a few hours on a Thursday afternoon, they're like, oh, where did you go? I can't say, well, I've been to a therapist and they're trying to diagnose me. And so for me, when I knew I had ADHD by around 14, 15, because I'd be Googling all the time.
Lucky you, eh, Connor?
But still, as you know, even now at 32, I don't think that you feel like it's not one of those things where you feel like you can ever find the stability, because I can still say I act the way I acted at maybe 14, 15 still.
I remember when I was your age, exactly 32, I was in the middle of I think I was the peak of my party days, and God knows I self-medicated a lot and partied and drank, and it was such a relief for me. And again, I ended up going to therapy in my life for so many reasons. One was to get out of the party days because it was just so intense. And I hyper focused, I think, in my party days for a few years. So it was a bit of a blur actually because I partied.
Yeah.
I also have to say I partied in the gay world because the heterosexual world, it's just gay Madrid is the best, right? So
Yeah.
we also click there because I have most of my friends are gay, and Treka and the clubs that some of them don't even exist anymore. But those days were amazing, the best days of my life. However, they were very dangerous because it's hard to know when to stop, you know.
Yeah.
And then before that, I mean, my whole life working, I changed jobs like the maximum I can last in a job is 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster. And then don't even get me started on school. I can't finish anything.
Yeah.
Very difficult. And I always knew there was something wrong. And now that I know what I have, I feel relieved. But at the same time, I'm like upset because I would have, if I had known, maybe I would have medicated differently. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's really hard with the job situation because we always go in. I always feel like with ADHD, we go in and we present such a great, like through the interview process and when we arrive. And then I always feel like week by week, the wheels come off as I get to know people around me and get more and more sensitive to what's going on and everything around me. And then after a certain amount of time, it's like, it sort of builds up and explodes, and then I want to get out of there. I want to run, and it's that feeling like
yes, I know.
like
I know how you feel, Connor, because as I get older, I have thicker skin, and when that's why I like to tell you, you know, like we have these conversations because we talk weekly, right? I like to tell you, Connor, it gets better, but it is true that we are so sensitive to bullshit, and we see right through bullshit so quickly. But the worst part is we do care. We care about it. In fact, we care about it so much that we just end up destroyed about it, right? It's like, I can't work with these people.
Yeah. And it's like we know everything we've done, everything we've said. When we've said something, we go over and over and over in our head, and we're like, oh, I wish I hadn't said it. Or done it or reacted that way, but I couldn't help it in the moment because the emotions, they just build up, and when you get that RSD or whatever the trigger is, it comes out, and for us we have to release it. We can't hold it in. Some people can just hold it in. For us, we have to get it out.
I don't know about you, but for me, my worst regrets is when I release that kraken that I have inside, when I blow, and then I'm very conscious that I'm blowing up and I'm getting really aggressive, but it's hard for me to stop. I mean, luckily, I'm not like that with everybody. And as I said, as I got older, I've calmed down a lot. But for example, I remember that time I told you about this guy who was kicking a dog. I mean, I could have gotten killed. Do you know what I mean? I was like, you're not touching this dog. And I went crazy. And I ended up, getting myself into situations that are dangerous. And because I have this thing where I need to be just, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Also confusing. It's confusing, right? Because you have this insecurity within you because the world is unjust, obviously, but you can't ignore it. So then you get this feeling that you're demoralized completely. And sometimes, I mean, this is going to sound terrible, but I'm just thinking, I don't know how much longer I have to live, but the day I die, it's going to be a relief because living is a real struggle. And of course I blame ADHD, and I don't know, because also the coping strategies that I didn't learn on time,
Yeah. And it's like, I think as well in past generations, everyone was brought up whether it was, and I hate to call it like ADHD or anything, a mental illness, because it's just a part of who we are. But in the past, it was very much seen as a mental illness, and it's like they buried it, and you had to be strong. And if there was someone in the family that had whatever it was, ADHD, anxiety, like through past generations, it was like, no, you've got to be strong. Or you were seen as the crazy person in the family.
Oh, yeah, now, any ADHD knows we are the black sheep of the family. Yes, because it's so hard. Also, I was born in 1973, so I grew up in the 80s. my childhood was in the 80s, and my young adulthood was in the 90s. And to be honest, I never heard about ADHD until recently, obviously. Like, I didn't even think about it. And the worst part is that I've been to so many therapies, because I mean, I went to therapies when I was a teenager. I went to therapy when I was an adult. I went to therapy after, before becoming a mom.
Yeah.
And never, not once, did anyone suggest, do you have ADHD? I don't know why I didn't pick up on it, because I mean, all the clues are there.
Yeah, I know. And so many times it can get mixed with something else. Like, people can think that it's like, a lot of people in Madrid used to say to me, "Oh, I think you've got a borderline personality disorder
Yeah.
because you're so lovely," and then suddenly
I know.
you switch and the monster comes out. And
Yeah.
for me, it's usually with alcohol, which I've realized the alcohol brings out the
Alcohol
worst
is
in me.
terrible. Alcohol is terrible. It's the worst, because it really does bring out an aggressive part.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
well, all drugs in general, they do relieve that horrible anxiety that you have, but at the same time, they're gonna the aftermath is like terrible, because you feel more depressed, and you don't even know what's wrong with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, and it's true. And
what
it's
about friends
I
coming and going? Oh my God, I have
yeah,
I have good friends, but I have to say all my good friends are friends from my past.
yeah,
New
yeah,
friends are hard, because I'm a mom now, so the mothers, my daughter's friends, and the moms, they have like this really obvious stability in houses, and a steady income and cars, and I struggle. I'm divorced twice. I got it twice, of course. I have a shitty car. I barely have enough to pay the rent and the bills. My mom helps me when I don't have money for food. You know what I mean? I keep adopting cats. I have 3 cats and a dog.
I
So
know. That's so
I
cute.
remember my therapist used to say to me, like, you're not really conscious. Like, you're not doing things consciously. And I'm like, now I know it's impulsivity. I'm not
Yeah,
really, it's management skills. I have 0.
yeah. And I
Right.
find for me as well, like, seeing, even when I was like 25, 26, seeing people with their life together, and I openly admit it, like, this jealousy, because I can't find stability in my life. I'm like, I just want to get through the month and have enough money
Yeah.
and be able to go on, I don't know, maybe a trip to Valencia or somewhere, or to just buy a new outfit. But yeah, I find no matter how hard I try, every single month I end the month broke.
Every month.
And I'm always
Every month.
looking for ways to, try and improve my like career. It's like I said to you, when I moved out of teaching, I thought that was going to be it. Finally, I was going to be on a path to better income. I think with ADHD, even if I was on 40,000 a year, I'd still be broke at the end of the month somehow.
Somehow.
It's like managing money is so difficult, and then the stress of it, because you realize, and it's like I put like a tracker, like, now every time I purchase something, it pops up on my phone and shows me. Otherwise, because before I didn't
Really,
have money.
that's really good. I should get that. I should recommend that app.
Yes.
I mean, if the thing is, I keep feeling like I get stuck in a dead end, right? So you take a job, you start off thinking I'm gonna do great here, and then you're in a dead end without money, and thinking I have to change jobs again. And then when
Yeah.
you go into teaching, I remember I told you, it's like, get out, because otherwise it's too late, because I only know how to teach English. At the moment, I'm also teaching Spanish and a little bit of French, but I'm not getting any other offers. So, I'm a 51-year-old woman that all I know how to do is teach. I'm good at it. And believe it
Yeah.
or not, I'm really patient with kids. I love little kids. I'm good at my job. But it's true that I'm always struggling for cash, and jobs are just, they come and go, relationships. And yeah, I mean, not only, and friends as well. For example, I recently had a falling out with my ex-husband's sister.
Yeah.
Basically, she was being very intense, and I still feel bad to the day with what happened. Basically, what she wanted to do was she wanted to come live here in Spain, She's from Mexico. And I got really overwhelmed. And I was like, no. You can't live with me. I can't live with people. I need to be alone. I have my daughter who's a teenager. She needs her space. I can't have people over. So I'm very careful who comes to my house now because of all the bad experiences I've had.
Yeah.
And now that I'm aware, like, dude, you have the ADHD, be careful. It's just getting to the point where it's impossible. I can't manage relationships anymore.
Yeah.
Living with people, it's really hard.
Yeah, it's tough. And that's why there's so much joy, I think, for both of us with animals, like with being around cats. You know, for me, I just find like every morning, I have my little Greta comes up, she snuggles with me. I'm like, oh, she's so sweet.
I guess, yeah. I think it's also a way to feel good about yourself, right? You're not insecure. Like you pick up a cat from the street and you take care of it and you make sure it doesn't die. And then you come home and it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And then, I mean, all my pets are adopted or saved directly from the street.
Yeah.
And I would have more, but I can't pay for it. Yeah. I get told off by my mom still at this age because she keeps, stop picking up cats. Stop spending money. Like, why did you buy that?
Yeah.
Why did I buy this?
Yeah, it's like the impulsivity never stopped. How was it when you got diagnosed, telling like everyone around you? Did you do it gradually?
That's a good question. I at first I felt embarrassed, and then I didn't tell them. I mean, I kind of mentioned to a few friends, but I don't feel the need anymore to tell everybody. But sometimes I overshare. Like that's just me. For some reason, the other day I was at the pharmacy and I was buying my medication.
Yeah.
Which I'll get to that in a minute because I don't know if I'm taking the right one. And I felt a bit embarrassed because at the pharmacy, the lady was, giving me my prescription drugs and I said, I kind of mentioned, I don't even know why, that I had ADHD.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why I was taking, those pills, why am I telling this woman this? But anyway, her reaction was funny because she said, oh my God, my son has ADHD. And then we started talking. Her son is 5 years old and she's a pharmacist, right? And she was in tears. She was in tears. Like she had a goosebump saying, how I'm so happy that my son is being medicated because he was struggling so much.
Yeah.
And the kid says to the mom, thank you for the medication. And I felt, wow, it really is a big deal. People that have ADHD need to be medicated. So I only tell people when I feel I have like something to prove or that they're looking at me weird because I feel judged sometimes. So then that's when I say it. For example, at work, right? If I'm doing something stupid, like for example, I get on the wrong bus and I'm late for work. Sorry, I have ADHD.
Yeah.
The bus, that's not the right one. Why I do stupid things like that.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes before coming here, I just checked my calendar and I was like, oh, I had to get a blood test on the 21st. And we are, what's today?
Yeah.
26.
Yeah.
I have to the doctor to rearrange another meeting. So oh God, it's every day I'm like this. I'm always dreading. What did I forget today?
Yeah, it's funny that this happens, but yeah, we can remember a conversation word for word that happened in 2017.
I feel bad about it.
How we felt, and it's actually the person's emotions and the whole situation. But if it's a doctor's appointment, I get freeze as well. Like if I've got a doctor's appointment, say at 1 o'clock, can't do anything before 1 o'clock. My mind just is focused on that appointment, and it's like all the time before that is gone. Like I can't do anything with that time. I'm like, right, I have to have that appointment. If I do anything else, I'll forget about it, and then I'll be like, oh crap, done it again.
On Monday, I was invited to a vegan meal. I'm vegan, by the way. This is another thing. My empathy goes so far that I cannot eat an animal or wear an animal. I've been vegan for 8 years, and so I was invited to this vegan meal. It was in Madrid at 9 o'clock in the city center. I wanted to leave my house at 6, and they're like, Pat, relax. You don't have to be so early. I get really stressed out with appointments. I'm either super late or super early. And
same.
So
Yeah.
medication wise, I wanted to say, so when I got this diagnosis, they told me that I had to return for 5 more sessions and pay an extra $500. And I said, wait, I'm going to try to get it for free at the Social Security, because this was a private doctor. So I went to the Social Security, and so my doctor said, you're too old to go to the psychiatrist and get medication. You've already lived your whole life, so it's best if you just treat your anxiety. So
Yeah.
I'm actually taking Brintellix, which is Vortioxetine. I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
to pronounce it. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's an antidepressant specifically for my anxiety. So what happens now is that it's not improving my ADHD symptoms, just the anxiety. So I don't really care that much what happens, but I'm fully aware that I'm losing that I'm not making it to my appointments, that I forget classes, that I can't, be in a job. I'm aware, but my focus is getting difficult.
Yeah.
So, but if I try to get off the meds, I start getting anxious, like crazy anxious. So I have to take lorazepam. So it's like, why I'm always taking a pill.
Yeah.
This is the way I feel right now. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, well, like in the future. But I mean, at some point, I'm just going to be like, this pill for this pill for that. And I wish I didn't have to take so many pills, but I can't live like a normal person without them.
Yeah. And it's like,
That's
I'm
annoying.
kind of the same. Sometimes I feel like with the doctors, like I'm almost a scientific experiment. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I've been on Concerta in the past, which for people that don't know is, I guess, the equivalent of Adderall, closest to it in the US.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I think I was on 60 milligrams at the time, and it helped a lot. But of course, it made me, when I started it and when I came off it, really angry. Had like,
Yeah.
in December, I was really angry, and then I had to come off because of the leg injury, and they switched me to Prozac, fluoxetine. And I said to the doctor at my most recent appointment, I said, I'm angry all the time again on an antidepressant, but not normal anger. Like my mom, everyone in my life will know the last few weeks, anything would just set me off. Like someone could look at me in the street, and it's like that lady I told you about. I was sat on a bench, and there was a load of homeless people sat and sleeping on the bench, and I had my leg up just like this, and she screamed at me, and I ended up screaming at her back, and then I felt bad afterwards. And I was like, why have I got this rage? I know the rage comes from my dad's side of the family, because he was always an angry person, throwing plates, just a lot of anger and alcohol.
Yeah.
I can't even say the word alcohol. What's the word? Alcoholism. That comes from my dad's side of the family too. So if I drink and I'm angry, the anger comes out bad. Plus, I'm on this antidepressant that's making me angry instead of joyful. And so the doctor to me just said, well, we've got to increase your dose. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the right thing or not. But it's always like a scientific experiment. I feel like they're always trying to find something for us, and then new treatments appear. And then sometimes I'm like, well, maybe I just want to be off everything and just be my complete ADHD mess self, just completely off all these medications.
Yeah, but that's not easy, eh? That's not easy. Especially if you've been taking medication for a while and you try to take it. I do that sometimes. I'm like, I'm gonna stop, see if I can focus. But then I get a headache, and lately, get shaky, and because your body has completely adapted to this drug, and you're totally dependent on it, right? So, I mean, at least I'm not self-medicating. It's the doctor's prescription. But I mean, it's been my whole life. I mean, sometimes you're just so overwhelmed, and your brain won't shut up. So you're gonna need a couple of, glasses of wine or something that's gonna help you ease that awful sound in your head. It just won't shut up. Because there's always problems as well, right? Because you have ADHD, you have problems at work, you have problems with certain people at work. Sometimes you have issues with money and everything. Maybe something this big for normal person. Well, I mean normal person. The wrong word. Neurotypical. That's the word.
Yeah.
Neurotypicals see a problem and they go around it and they work it out. neurodivergence, we just see the problem like it's massive, it's the Kraken, it's coming towards it, and I'm like, you dread the problem that maybe wasn't such a big deal, or the worst part is maybe you're the one who created that problem, like money issues. Why do you have 30,000 debt? Oh, okay, because you bought all that stuff, like.
It's
your problem. You made it. You cooked it, you eat it.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where I feel like in a crisis moment, I'm very calm, but everyday things will send me over the edge into a spiral of anxiety. Like just even going to work, for example, sometimes, and going into the office, I'll get a pit in my stomach. But for example, if the building started burning down, I'd be saving everyone. I'd be, you know what I mean? I'd be
exactly. We work really well under pressure. True.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know about you, but as a kid, I was always drawn to danger, kind of. I think I told you before. And that was like, at the time, I wanted to explore abandoned houses. I was obsessed with disaster movies, like anything with a hurricane or a tornado. I used to say to my mom and dad at like 10, I want to go to America and tornado chase and things like that. Whilst other kids were just playing football, and then I'd be on The Sims, burning the houses down and doing all these things which were, not, and all these, and all the things that I did, like looking back as a kid, like it was like a draw towards danger that subconsciously now, and we've both been through this, we end up, and we don't mean to, in a dating situation or meeting a new friend that we think is going to be great, and they turn out to be not so good for us. And I think it's because there's some stimulation with the dopamine and the adrenaline that we get from meeting these people, and then later on we regret it, and it's like, oh, I wish I hadn't gone on a date, or this and that.
The dating world has gone terribly for me. But for the first question, when I was a kid, I remember, well, I grew up in Canada, and I had this bike, 80s bike, one of these big. I used to go far away, as far as I could go. But sometimes I'd get lost, and it gave me such a rush to just disappear. I had a brother 4 years younger. I have a brother, he's still there. And we used to go, and get leeches from the rivers, because I lived in the outskirts of Toronto, so there was a lot of, it's Canada, there's a lot of forest, and yeah, I mean, there's some dangerous situations, but I think my dangerous situations was when I came to Spain. I came to Spain when I was 15, because a lot of shit went on. A lot of stuff went on with my stepdad, and he was a little bit abusive, and I hate his guts, and my mom didn't see things, and I hated my mom, all these things, right? So this situation, which was not ADHD, I was just pure teenager shit going on. And when I came to Spain, I was living with my grandmother. She's like my savior, bless her soul. I really miss her. She was somebody who would calm me down. She had this good energy for me. But because I am how I am, but 2 years in living in Spain, I was about 16 or so, I used to go out and drink. I would drink so much that I don't remember people talking to me and telling me stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, you talk to me? I had enemies, and once I asked the girl, why do you hate me? Because you don't remember? I'm like, no, what did I do? Like, seriously, I'm like, my God, I would black out. So I had this need to go. And then when I was 19, I went to London, and I squatted there, and I realized I didn't really want that. But why did I end up with squatters? Because I'm addicted to danger,
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Even my first husband, he was a death metal singer, and I don't know if I was just attracted to his hair and his music, that. And then now I'm thinking, God, you're so weird, Pat. Like, why did you marry someone like that? It's not even the type of music I like.
Yeah.
And then when I discovered, I worked at the airport at Continental Airlines for a few years, discovered all these amazing, gorgeous gay friends, and then I discovered, the nightlife and parties and raves, and I was like, well, that was it. That was like, that was me. It still is. Like, I don't do that anymore, but those were the days for me. It's always addicted to experiences, like wild experiences. I am a wild one. I don't want to say was, because I mean, deep down, although I've calmed down a lot, I am who I am, you know?
Yeah, still inside you.
It's still inside me. I still listen to house music in the car, and I get a rush from, oh my God, I remember this song in that club. And I mean, that's me. And I plan on going to the gay pride in a week, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's next week in Madrid.
Yes, I am who I am, and my friends are friends, and I don't regret anything. Just that I have been in a couple of situations where I'm lucky to be alive, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like so many regretful things, especially like bringing guys home back then in my single days. Dude, like seriously, I have no filter, you know?
Yeah. It's like dating in general is hard, and how it's changed in this app culture and this Tinder and all these things, and Tinder swindlers and everything. It's like
I've tried the Tinders, but it's not working for me because I'm a lot older, and I'm finding I'm attracted to weird people, so it's not working for me.
It's same with me. It's like no matter, I feel like I'm going on a date and meeting someone great, and then somehow they turn out like to be. It's like I said before, there could be 100 people in a room, and I somehow would meet the Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. That's it. I don't know why, and why that happens. Also, the awkwardness. I don't know if this happens to you. I suppose, like, I'm not shy. I'm very sociable and nice, and if I have to have a job for people, I could put on that nice show. But I am a bit weird in first meetings and situations where I don't know people, so I'm a bit shy, or not shy, just antisocial with people that are not my own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I tend to just splurge my whole life story onto people I've just met, and then I think because of that, I've become close with them, and maybe for them, I'm just a vaguely distant acquaintance, and meanwhile, I'm like, oh, I've had this amazing conversation, and they're replying to me, and we're building this friendship, and then I realize later,
I had a couple of drinks. It's like, oh, come, I'll tell you my whole life.
Yeah, and people love to hear a good disaster story and the things that have happened in my life. ADHD.
I suppose they do.
But it's difficult to find, connections, and it's hard. And I think we have the positive traits as well with ADHD that we can like, for example, it's like we said, like in school, something could be super last minute and we could get it done like that. It's like when there's something creative that stimulates us, it's like we go all in, and it really is something that we like. If we love something, we really love it and really enjoy it. And the same with people as well. Like, it's just the negative situations affect us so much. And
and also, I know, for example, if somebody yells at me or calls me whatever, I get really nervous, like it hurts my stomach and everything. But I know it's like right now you can't do anything about it. You're gonna be crazy for a few hours. But you're gonna forget about it. So breathe in and breathe out.
Yeah, it's like,
for me, one thing I'm gonna say that I hate about having ADHD, and it's I suppose it's ADHD. It's the corners in my house that I have where I'll do this later. Right? So I have like a pile of art stuff that I want to paint, for example, and I love painting. It's like a hobby of mine, but I'll get to it, and a year later, it's still there. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And in order for me to clean the house properly, I need to put some music in the background, have my all the clean material, and it's hyper focus. I can't. It's very difficult for me to start. Once I start, I'll do it, but there's no routine. There's no like every Sunday morning I'm gonna clean. No, it's like whenever I can,
Yeah. I was kind of the same. Like in Madrid, in my apartment, things would just build up, or even simple things. Like, it sounds gross, but I would not change like the bed sheets for weeks. I would avoid doing things, and then suddenly one day I'd do everything, and everything was suddenly immaculately clean and everything like that. And I'm now living with housemates. I might wake up at a crazy hour, manically clean everything. Everything looks spotless. Everything looks suddenly tidy. And then in my room, everything's a mess. I can't find anything. Like my
Oh yeah.
clothes right now are stacked up, and I can't find where half my t-shirts are gone. I lose things. I'm like, how have I lost this?
And you
Because
had
I
it in
just
your hand
have it.
this morning. Yeah, you had
Yeah,
it in your hand, but now it's lost. Where is it? Yeah, it drives me crazy.
yeah, it's one of those things, but it's the nature. At this point, I've just accepted it. I'm like, I'm gonna keep on doing it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I'm just gonna go out and say this because you, for me, are like a therapy. Every time I have a problem, I know I just get on the phone. I'll send you a 7-minute podcast.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this is what happened to me, and I'll get a reply, whenever you can, and that's like you understand me. But this is the reason why I reach out to you, because it's really hard for people to like, oh, what? So you got into a fight with a person who was kicking a dog? It's like,
yeah,
yeah, well, that person could have stabbed me, or because he was drunk and he had a bottle in his hand. I was like, why? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm really grateful that I have you to talk about this, and I kind of hope that some people will relate to this. I don't know, experience. I don't want to say horrible because, as you said, we do have some superpowers,
yeah. It's true.
But yeah, but self-esteem is not one of them.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's important to just talk about the
It is.
raw honesty of ADHD, because people often, like on these YouTube videos and that, they put like these guidebooks to making the best of situations and that. But the reality is our life is always going to be unpredictable. We're always going to have peaks and valleys. We could have an amazing month, and then someone could just look at us in the street the wrong way, or we could see something happen or a fallout with a friend and it could just derail the whole thing. Or you could meet someone, you never know, and
Yeah,
have an
exactly. You
amazing
never know. I mean, ideally, it would be good, whoever, if we do have a relationship in the future, that person understands that you're dealing with a person with ADHD, which is hard, but
yeah,
it's not impossible. It's just difficult. I don't know. I have to say that I'm gonna quote Deadpool here. Something like life is like a torment. It's like a drama. It's a scary movie.
yeah,
And once in a while, you have to stop for a commercial, and a commercial is like a pause when you have everything's good. So when you get those little little pauses in life where you feel good, like I don't know, you have to take it in because there's so few of them.
yeah,
And I'm gonna admit it, my cats, my animals are the best source of happiness that I have right now at this moment.
yeah,
So, and I
yeah,
haven't spoken much about my daughter. Luckily, I'm super, super, super lucky, and I knock on wood, because she turned out to be a good student. I'm always like wondering, is she going to be like me? It
yeah,
turns out she takes after her grandmother, was really, really a brilliant student. She has great reports. She's a typical teenager with her friends. She's
yeah,
very sweet sometimes. She talks to me with respect, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I have such an amazing teenager, because I
yeah,
was nothing like her, Connor. I was very disrespectful. I was crazy. I was shaved my head once at her age. Do you know what I mean? I was always looking for adventures and change of looks and going crazy, running away from home, trying to get
yeah,
out. Bad. I was a bad teenager. And I regret a lot of things. So right now, as a mom and a teacher, I'm
yeah,
I'm like always careful and looking out for signals. And if I have a student who happens to have everything that I had, I understand right away.
yeah, definitely. Because I remember we had a student, at the school we worked at,
Yeah.
and we knew like the other teachers would get really frustrated, but we knew, and
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
they got along with us, and I knew how to handle and manage the situation.
You did, you did.
Um, but yeah, in
That's
my
called
school thing,
empathy.
it's weird because in school I was like the isolated kid that would be
Really.
completely. I used to, yeah, be very quiet, and then suddenly in college everything completely changed. I wanted to have garage parties. We used to go on camping trips, like take 25 people from college and get absolutely wasted at 16. And then I remember the first like proper job I got, my mom got me at 17 with someone she
Really.
knew. And like the day before, I got a piercing and showed up for the first day with a black eye. It's like, the things I done.
I know.
I dyed my hair red because I wanted to look like I think it was Fall Out Boy singer, whatever at the time. Went through my little emo phase, so I had like this red hair, this eyebrow piercing, black eye, and I was like, oh my god. And then that piercing fell out on holiday. I don't know whatever happened to it. It was a sign that I was not meant to have a piercing, I think. But looking back, my teenage years, I think I rebelled a lot against my parents as well, because
people had difficult parents. Yeah.
And the lack of acceptance for when I came out, I made up for it by maybe rebelling and like, I'm gonna have this house party for my birthday. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get a piercing. I'm gonna all these things. And looking back, maybe it was rebelling against the kind of rejection. But luckily now, obviously now, my dad's completely out the picture. Thank God.
Yeah. Your dad hurt you a lot, Connor. He needs to be out of the picture because when we go back to the problems, we still feel how horrible it was. So it's I, for example, don't allow my mother to talk about my last years in Canada. She tries to sometimes. She wants to go back because she knows she's not stupid. She knows things happen, but I forbid it. Like and until the day I die, that time of my life is not gonna. I'm not gonna get into detail. If something happened, as things happen, and they hurt me, but it's my only survival way. Also, a lot of therapies were like, you don't live in the past. The past is only in your brain. Live in the present. Concentrate, blah blah blah. The self-help shit. But I just think, and then our families did hurt us, but right now it's like focus on not talking about it, because going there is a dark place. Don't you think?
Yeah, I feel like with me, my mom, and my sister, we reached a place where we worked through everything and talked through everything and really have healed a lot. But I know my mom's side of the family tends to brush things under the rug, and she, struggles with that because me and my mom are very emotionally open, like we are with our conversations we have. And my sister's very emotionally caring as well. Like with animals and cats, we're all the same as well.
I meet your mom and your sister. I think we would go. We'll have to get on a plane together and go to visit the family.
Yeah, see all the cats, all of them are so sweet. But yeah, I feel like it's different with every family, but I don't know, in our family, definitely like the alcoholism on my dad's side, the anger that's come through to me, the anxiety from my mom has come through to me. And so with the ADHD, that manifests.
Do you think your dad has ADHD maybe?
I don't think he did. No, I looking back, he more had just an anger problem, but no, he was always very focused in work. He could get anything done in the house. Like if there was anything wrong with a computer or anything, he could always fix it. But his emotions were erratic. Like he would explode over the smallest thing. If my mom didn't make a dinner, he like throw a plate at the wall. And so that's like, looking back, it was a weird childhood to grow up.
Weird. So aggressive.
Yeah, like he would block her when we tried to escape to our grandparents. He'd block her car in on the driveway, like things like that. And so I think those things definitely played into my anger with my ADHD in the present, because I have an issue. My issue is with men. Like all the women in my life, I get along with perfectly, and I never have an argument. It's like, but with men, it's like, I don't know. From dating to friendships, I find it very difficult to maintain friendships with my gay friends, and I find it really difficult to date because I'm expected to be ghosted. And I get in that mode because of ADHD and managing money, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go on this date because what if he ghosts me and I could have used that €20 I spent on drinks for groceries, and I know I'm going to be broke, and that 20 euros could have been a few meals, and I've wasted it on a guy that's never going to see me again. So then I'm like, well, I don't.
Yeah, just also just putting yourself out there. For me, dating online is completely out of the question right now, because the few times that I've done it, first of all, putting myself out there, finding a picture that is okay, explaining that obviously I'm not going to say I have ADHD, I'm not neurotypical, whatever. No, but I do have to say that I'm animal friendly. I don't like bullfights. I'm vegan. I'm a little bit of an activist. And also I live with my daughter alone, and I want to keep it that way because I don't want anybody. So that's kind of, how do you say all these things and attract the right person? There might be a right person, but there are a lot of profiles out there. So whenever I filtered and finally had a chance to meet the person, in 2 seconds, I see a million red flags, and I just back out of it and go like, no, can't do this, can't do this. I need to find another way. Online doesn't work for me.
I think they do have like those meetup events and that. I don't know in Madrid if they're as popular as here, but they have them. They even have singles events, but I've not been to one yet. I always say, oh, maybe I'm going to try it, but I always avoid it in the end.
When you come to Madrid, I'll go with you. I'll be, even if it's, I mean,
I'll be your wingman.
Yeah, I've been going to recently. I've been hyper focusing on a new activity, which is I'm trying to get back into painting, like seriously. So I've been to an art exposition, and I bought the materials. I have it here. It's around here, like to start painting. And I think I need to also read. It's really difficult for me to read. If the letter isn't big enough, I'll get bored or read the line twice, whatever. So I'm gonna try this summer to do those things rather than party or go out and meet people. But maybe along the way I'll meet someone. But again, it has to be something random, because if I look for it, I come out as weird. I don't know if this happens to you. Me trying to flirt, I'm a disaster. So weird.
It's like, and the thought of it as well, like I would rather build a gradual friendship with someone and then really know all the traits about me and really know who they are as a person before I went even on a date. Like the thought of going on a date like makes me cringe. Like I'd rather meet someone naturally, but in this world everything moves so fast and it's app swipe. It's so difficult nowadays to just meet people. Like, it's not like these stupid movies that are like, oh, you walk into a supermarket and see someone when you're walking down the vegetable aisle. It's like, no, that does not happen.
That doesn't happen. I swear.
It never happens.
Who thinks like that? I've never been like asked out in the supermarket. Also, I don't know. I just feel, for me, I don't know about you, but sexual tension makes me nervous. I've never actually gone with a person I flirted without having a couple of drinks on me. Never in my life. Like my daughter's dad, I met him at a party. I had a couple of drinks. My first husband, I can't remember, but we worked together. That's different. But anyway, it was hard. It's hard. I feel really strange when there's sexual tension. So obviously with gay men, it's so easy because it's like we have the same mentality, but there's no sexual tension. So it's always going to work out. Yeah,
it's true. And I don't know, I hope for both of us that we find our right partners eventually. But
I also hope this podcast thing works out. I've been watching your podcast, and everyone who's been on here I found so interesting. And maybe we could do like a three-way. Another person can come on. I'm really grateful for you having me do this with you. We've been talking about doing it for months, because of course time management isn't
like ADHD. And I think to wrap it up, I think what if you would say, and I'll probably do the same for maybe any teenagers or people who are watching this who think they might have ADHD, like maybe 3 pieces of advice that you'd give them
Well, I hope teenagers are watching this, because I know I've been there. It was so hard. Teenagers, first of all, say the first thing, that's not advice, it's an affirmation. Like, it will pass. Being a teenager with ADHD it's the worst experience. The worst experience of my entire life is being a teenager. And it wasn't until I turned 19 and I left to London on my own and started, living my life in an adventure. It didn't get better, right? Then also, self-medicating is a thing. People that have ADHD need to want to self-medicate, or want to, at some point drink or drugs, or so. If that starts to happen, know that it's a normal thing, and then maybe that's when you need to go to the doctor. Don't feel ashamed about it, because we've all done it. We've all done it. It's like, it's kind of something that you need at some point, right? And then learn. The third thing I would say is learn coping devices. For example, don't let people get under your skin. We snap quickly. We get really sensitive, and like, do your best. Do your best. That's enough. If people don't like it, you have to feel like, I've done my best. Right? Yeah. Don't let them. And also, one more last thing is try to be kind with your words. I recently went out with a friend for drinks, and she said to me, "You're so hard on yourself. You put yourself down, Pat." And I was like, "Do I?" I was like, "Yes, you can't do that. That attitude is going to bring you down. Stop saying shit about yourself." I don't talk about others that way. I talk about myself that way. That's not getting me anywhere. So I have to, yes, be kind with your words. Be kind to yourself. Like, stop being such a nag to yourself. There I go. I did it again. I don't have money. I'm a loser. All those are the words I tell myself. So my advice to whoever is struggling with this, or teenagers, or whoever, adults, it's like, start being nice to yourself, because it's okay, and we're all doing it.
Yeah, we all have that internal monologue going on in our head, and
constant.
It's like, and I think that is really good advice. I'd say as well, a piece of advice that's really good is, when we have a moment that something happens and we punish ourselves over it, we've got to just let it go. It's like,
let it go.
I'm trying to reach that place now where if something happens, instead of obsessively going over it in my head, I'm like, okay, that happened, and I've just got to keep moving on. And one thing about ADHD is we're very resilient. We always bounce back no matter what situation we're in. And
you always say that. I love that thing. You always tell me this. We are resilient. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like, true that it takes years, eh? It takes years, but don't let things get to you. Thick skin, you need to build it, because otherwise, and something goes wrong, the first thing you're gonna do is, okay, I need a pill for my anxiety, and you start going crazy, and it's not the way. Maybe something that I should do also this summer is do exercise. Everyone's telling me, do more exercise. I don't like going to the gym.
It helps me a lot to just walk with headphones in and just have like my soundtrack, whatever I've got, and just be completely with nature. And that is very good therapy for me. Like, everyone has different forms of like therapy. I find for me to clear my head, just putting my headphones in when they're not broke, and I've probably broken 7 pairs of headphones this year, to just go on a hike and just, it's like, just disappear into there's not much green space in Barcelona, but any space I can find, and just be with the music. And then when I come back, it's like the thoughts have been cleared out of my head.
Question: what type of music do you listen to?
It's like, I have a weird thing about French house music from the early 2000s that I'm obsessed with at the moment. Like, like Stardust and Punk,
I have my favorites on Spotify. They're all house music, all from the 2000s to 2010. And I also have maybe these radio channels that connect to New York, like Robert Sanchez house music, and something that can make me power walk. So that relaxes me more than chill out meditation. I hate meditating. Not that I hate it. I just don't know how to do it. My mind can't not shut up. So I just rather get the music like really loud, the headphones, and start power walking. I'll take the dog with me. But I think, exercise is something that we must do, and it's hard. It's hard to get started.
Yeah, it's so true. And well, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
To see you soon.
People for watching us. I hope some people will benefit from this.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to have, the real conversations about stuff, and as hard as it can be.
This is what we do every day. This is our life. It's not a joke. This is what it is.
Yeah, it's so true. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I'm really happy we finally managed to do this. And maybe you come to Madrid for Gay Pride. I'll see you around.
Yeah, I really hope I can. I think I've got to work that week. But hopefully, maybe I want to.
I'm here, okay?
Yeah, so thanks so much for coming on. So thank you so much. And to all the guests, thanks for tuning into the Queerness Diaries. We'll be back again next week. So thank you very much, Pat. And I shall speak to you. Well, I'll speak to you probably on WhatsApp or now anyway.
But after this.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
All right. Ciao. Thank you.